Thing. All right. Well, welcome everybody again. We have Brian here from Adapted Sports of Ohio. He's the director of
Programs. Yep.
program. Thank you.
Yep. You got
And
it.
he's going to share with us what Adapted Sports of Ohio is, all of the programs that you have, and how we can get involved. So thank you for being here, and it's all yours.
Thanks so much. And yeah, I'm very happy to be here. I really enjoy doing these presentations and meeting new people, and just trying to give people opportunities to experience something that may interest you, and some of this may not. But we think we have a lot of different offerings, kind of like your association does with all kinds of different concerts and events. Maybe something is going to spark your attention and want to make you get involved. Before I really start, let me apologize again for my camera here this evening. It's been a little fussy and freezing sometimes, so I just need to turn it off and back on again, and we'll be fine. But I will be sharing my screen for a little bit, showing you some of the offerings that we have. And really, we're just trying to help, expand maybe something that you're already doing, or give you a new opportunity. And so, starting with an introduction of myself, because I do think it's important for you all to get to know the people that you're interacting with. So I'm Brian, and I grew up in Cleveland. I'm a North Royalton graduate, and I was a big band nerd in high school. Okay, I played percussion and drums for marching band and jazz band, school musical, all that fun stuff. I went to Ohio State to be a physical education teacher. And through that program, I took some adapted PE classes. And through those adapted PE classes, I really found something that I enjoyed in helping make things more inclusive and finding adaptations to make things that are already fun for more people. So I really enjoyed doing that. And that's when I started getting introduced to Special Olympics. So I went to a Special Olympics camp. I went to Alaska for Camp Abilities, which helps athletes that have visual impairment. And so I started doing all these different adaptive activities and really enjoyed it, even though at the time I had never done anything for people that had a physical disability. It was all more intellectual, cognitive, and visual type disabilities. And then when I had this opportunity to join Adaptive Sports Ohio 2 years ago, it really completely changed the way I thought about disability. And part of my philosophy is I really do enjoy sports. And I think sports just do so much for people, whether it's just for the social aspect and the friendships that come from it, from the community and from the belonging that you receive from being a part of a team, for the exercise, for the stress relief. I'm sure I don't need to sell you all on the benefits of being active because you already know that. But I think it's cool that we get to do this in a different way. And fortunately, in Northeast Ohio, there's a lot of great organizations that have adaptive programs for those that have cognitive and intellectual disabilities, and also some for people that have physical disabilities. For example, Youth Challenge, Achievement Centers, Empower. There's a lot of great groups out there. But Adaptive Sports Ohio, we pride ourselves on more of the team sports side for people that have a physical disability. And we have some programs that are very recreational, where you can just come try it. You can be bad at it. You can have fun with it. And then we also have sports at a more competitive level where you can try to be getting, gold medals in sled hockey, or you can go to, Tampa Bay and face the Buccaneers in wheelchair football. So there's a lot of different offerings, and we do these things for 6-year-olds and 76-year-olds. So, ages all across the spectrum in our organization. And then functional ability is very widely diverse in our organization as well. And so in our organization, you're going to see a lot of people that do have spinal cord injuries. We also have people that have spina bifida, cerebral palsy, arthrogryposis, leg limb difference. There's a wide variety of people that we help, And we take pride in that there are so many different types of people that find their way to our organization and are successful with it. So I do want to tell you a little bit about the organization, and then I want to make sure that I have time for you all to ask me some questions in here too. And then I also see Nathan Gay hopped on, and Nathan plays wheelchair football, wheelchair lacrosse, wheelchair rugby in our organization too. So Nathan, if you want to say anything towards the end too, and give a plug or a pitch for what we do at Adaptive Sports Ohio, I'll allow you that time if you'd like. Okay, so let me share my screen for a moment and start talking a little bit more about our organization. I know some of you were on this meeting with me last year. So, Richard, for example, thank you for being here again. We do have some different things compared to last time we talked. So maybe something else will spark your interest. So I'll share my screen to show you the presentation that we have here. And I'll go ahead and start my slideshow here. Okay. So I see my screen, my personal screen's frozen again. Great. Okay, so Adaptive Sports Ohio, we are a nonprofit organization, and we started in 2009. So we're about 14 years old right now, and our mission, removing barriers so that way individuals with a physical disability has a chance to play, and we utilize sport to elevate ability and empower futures. So just some information on that mission of ours. I think removing barriers is one of the biggest, most important parts of that because adaptive sports, it takes a lot because of the equipment that is necessary to participate in a lot of these sports. For example, let's say power wheelchair soccer. Power wheelchair soccer is a sport for typically lower functioning athletes. A lot of quadriplegics, a lot of spinal cord injury participate in power wheelchair soccer. And it's very unlikely that somebody has their own power wheelchair that they can play soccer with because a power wheelchair has a guard on the front of it that allows you to kick the ball, for those of you that haven't seen it. The higher end, the more competitive power soccer chairs are up to $10,000 each. And I would never expect for someone who has never played power soccer before to invest in getting their own power soccer chair. That would be crazy. And so, one of the benefits of our organization and how we remove barriers is by providing almost all of the equipment that you need to participate in the sport. We also provide the coaching for the sport, so that way you don't need to have experience coming in. And we're going to provide that team environment so you can have fun and participate. So, for example, with wheelchair football coming up, if you've never played wheelchair football before, if you don't have your own football wheelchair, if you don't even know how the game of football works, you can still show up to that clinic, just you yourself, and we're going to make sure that you have a good time with a quality experience. And with that, I see Nathan Gay already jumped off, so he must be sick of me talking already because I do that enough for him. Anyways, so that's one of the ways that we remove barriers. We provide the equipment, provide the coaching, provide the others with physical disabilities to be there with you. And I think all of that together helps people want to come back and stay involved in the programs. So our headquarters is located in Worcester, Ohio. It's about an hour south of Cleveland. However, I represent Cuyahoga County. I represent Northeast Ohio a little bit more in my role as director of programs. And my office is in Warrensville Heights. So we do a lot of our programs out of Garfield Heights, out of Cleveland Heights, out of Twinsburg, out of Parma. And so we're kind of all around Cuyahoga County in different areas for the most part. We have some programs in Beechwood on the east side, Berea on the west side, and we try to just provide a lot of opportunity for people to get involved. That is one downside of the organization is that we do not have the resources to provide transportation to our practices. And so I know transportation can be a barrier for some people, and that's a realistic barrier. So we try to find, areas that are closer to you, or we have some during the day, we have some in the evening, so that way maybe someone can give you a ride if you don't have your own transportation. So that is one barrier that does exist. Another barrier for some is that we do have a registration fee for our programs. However, for any first timer, we waive that fee. We're not having you pay the first time you're coming to try out a season with us. Our clinics are always free for trying things for the first time. And oftentimes that registration fee is just offsetting some of the cost of the equipment or the reservations, or the tournaments, whatever the case may be. And so we try to, again, just make it inclusive for everyone to still have a good time, even with those small things there too. Okay. Going back into this, and if you have questions, feel free to jump in, to use the raised hand feature, unmute, whatever works best for you. I will have time to answer questions at the end of the presentation. But if you have something while I'm on the topic, feel free to jump in. I don't mind that at all. Okay. So adaptive sports, sometimes the eligibility is questioning, even for those that have a physical disability. So I just met this wonderful person who is very high functioning with her disability. And she said that she doesn't want to participate because she doesn't want to take away this opportunity for others who might, have it worse than her. And that's not the case at all. This is for all different physical disability types, high functioning and low functioning. And sometimes you all might have a physical disability that's invisible, that's hidden. And that's great if that's the case. And that doesn't mean that there's not a place for you within our programs. And sometimes people feel bad about that sometimes, that they don't look like they have a lot of physical disability. So that way, they feel like they don't belong or they're taking someone else's spot. And that's not the case at all. And if you look in this picture down below right here, these few, we have Christian and Vincent in that power soccer chair, that are $10,000 each. We have Tommy, who is pretty high functioning. He plays sled hockey and he's on my Cleveland Cavaliers wheelchair basketball team. We have Virginia, who's doing some exercise as an amputee. And then we have some wheelchair rugby players here with Mike. Oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank on his name. I'll remember it later once I move on from the slide. But
John,
just to say, regardless of functional ability, there's going to be sports or opportunities or things that you can do based on how we're modifying the equipment. Okay, I'll pause for just a second here. Are there any questions so far? I saw Brian, you might have unmuted for a second. I saw Morgan, Megan may have unmuted for a second. So any questions?
Yanni is his name.
Yanni, oh my gosh, thank you. How do I forget? How do I forget? Don't tell him that I forgot his name. He won't let me live that down.
Of all of the people, not sure how you miss him, but
I know, right?
it's a
He's
Monday evening. We'll give you a pass.
he's got a personality that's not forgettable. So
He's awesome.
yes, for sure. Okay.
Nathan's trying to log in, so he's not getting sick of your voice, just so you know.
Oh, well, that's nice. Okay, great. Thanks for the update, Tim.
No problem.
As you can probably tell, as a coach, I like to mess around. I like to have some fun with my players too. I guess I should make that a part of my introduction, is that my role at Adaptive Sports Ohio as the director of programs is to do all the community-based program administration, delegate tasks to some of our program managers that are in different areas. But I also coach the Cleveland Cavaliers wheelchair basketball team and the Cleveland Browns wheelchair football team. So if any of you want to participate in those events, you'll have me as a coach. I also coach our recreational power wheelchair soccer team in Cleveland right now. And so I do a little bit of everything. And I love this job and I love working with these people. And hopefully you can see from my passion and the fire that I bring and the excitement that I really enjoy this type of programming and what we do. Okay, moving forward. My apologies to Yanni. All right, so here's a picture of my man Josh on the right side. He's the quarterback for our Cleveland Browns wheelchair football team. And it's a cool picture to see that he's that amputee above me on the right side. And he can still be a heck of an athlete. He tells the story all the time that football was always his favorite sport. He was born, without function on that right leg. And once he had a prosthetic, the rules for high school football at the time were that you could not play with a prosthetic. So he never had a chance to play football, which he loved so much. And wheelchair football gave him that opportunity to really be involved and to play at a pretty high level too. So again, even if you are ambulatory, even if you use crutches or a walker, or if you're using a power wheelchair, we always try to find something for you. Okay. We talked about the benefits of staying active. My man Steven in this picture right here, he just made Team USA actually for hand cycle. So he's competing at a very high level and awesome person. And so he could definitely tell you the benefits of staying active. But I think a lot of you know this stuff. Just that whether you have a disability or not, there's going to be benefits of staying active. But even more so for those that are typically more sedentary that have a physical disability. So, okay, so this is the slide that that people are typically more interested in. It's like, hey, so what are your opportunities? What are you doing out there? And so sled hockey is one of the biggest sports in our organization because we have a team in Toledo, in Cleveland, in Worcester, and in Youngstown. We have 4 sled hockey teams. And again, this is recreational and competitive. And sled hockey is played over the winter season. Power wheelchair soccer, we do have a competitive team out of Worcester that plays over the winter and into the spring. But we also have a recreational power wheelchair soccer program in Cleveland, and we play on Tuesday nights. Wheelchair basketball is a winter sport with the Cleveland Cavaliers team, but we also have drop-in recreational wheelchair basketball. Wheelchair rugby is out of Worcester that Nathan is on. Strength and conditioning, this one might excite a lot of you if you're used to this virtual format. So strength and conditioning is something that we do virtually every Thursday at 10 a.m., the second and fourth Thursday of every month. So if this is something where you just enjoy being at your home and want to be a little active and move a little bit, I would definitely encourage you try to find your way into our virtual strength and conditioning program. I don't make you work too hard, but I'm going to make you sweat a little bit if you participate. Okay. Wheelchair tennis. That's something we do in August. I'm also looking to add wheelchair pickleball into our programming this year. I've gotten a lot of excitement towards that opportunity. Yeah, I know, pickleball, it's blowing up. I played it during COVID every Wednesday for a year, so I love it. So I had to bring it to the adaptive community too. Wheelchair tennis, we're doing in June. This summer, wheelchair lacrosse just started last week in Worcester. Wheelchair football is in Cleveland over the summer. Track and field is happening right now on Wednesday nights in Cleveland. Hand cycling is in July in Cleveland. And then we have a dream camp for our youth that are between 6 and 18 years old. So we have so many different programs, so many different sports. And the great thing about our program is because we have things in Toledo, Cleveland, Youngstown, Worcester, is that there's different programs happening different nights or different times of year. So there's a lot of opportunity to get involved. So going into just like a little bit more detail with it. Again, we're all ages, all disability types, recreational and competitive. We're providing the equipment, we're providing the coaching, and oftentimes, especially over the summer, it's more recreational than it is competitive. So the summer is a great time to get involved and to try something. Whether you might really stink at it and you're going to fail at it, that's okay too. You know, just giving something that chance and having some courage to try it. Or maybe you do want to play at a little bit higher level. So there's a lot of opportunity there. Something that isn't necessarily for you all specifically, but I love mentioning this, is that we help students in their school systems get involved as well by allowing them to be a part of their track and field team and their wheelchair basketball team. So just on Saturday, I was down in Columbus, Ohio at the middle school state championship track and field meet. And we had 5 of our seated wheelchair athletes participating, wearing their school jerseys. We had one person set the state record for seated shot put. He threw a shot put over 20 feet from his chair, and it was just super impressive, set a state record. In this picture up on top is Casey. Casey is Lisa's son, and he really is the foundation of our organization. He was the first track and field athlete to participate in his school in the state of Ohio. He has since gone on to be on Team USA for the Pan Olympic Games, and right now he's training to be on Team USA again for the Paralympic Games in France. So he's definitely a role model, a mentor, and someone that we really appreciate in our organization. And then down at the bottom, this little girl here, a 7th grader, trying to join her track team for the first time after never done something like this before. And so success can look very different, right? Success can be Casey making Team USA. Success could be this little girl who is going to be on her track team wearing her team colors for the first time in her life, having the chance to do so. So there's a lot of different ways that we try to help people get involved. And then for wheelchair basketball, right now, we have 8 school districts that have their own wheelchair basketball program. So this is really cool that it's students with and without disabilities from 1st grade all the way through 12th grade. So we have an 8-year-old and an 18-year-old on the same team. It's really something special. And you see this bottom bullet, no Cuyahoga County schools. I did get Cleveland Metro School District to agree to create a team next year. So I'm very excited to work with them to have our first school in Cuyahoga County. For those of you that know anyone that's young with a physical disability, between 7 and 18 years old, not to say none of you aren't young. Okay, let me just step back for a moment. Okay, but 7 to 18 years old, we do have an overnight camp. That's a ton of fun where we kind of introduce you to all these different adaptive sports that I've been talking about today. So we really want you all to take action and to find something that you might be interested in. So I talked about Casey, how impressive he is. Evan Heller came through our program. He's now playing at Auburn on their school wheelchair basketball team on scholarship. And he made the under 23 junior Olympic team for wheelchair basketball. So like success really can be something awesome. Or here's our wheelchair football clinic that we had last year with the Cleveland Browns. We had 3 Cleveland Browns players come to our event, which was so cool, so fun. This specific event was through the VA as well, so we had a lot of veterans involved. But this could be you all, just at a clinic, trying something for the first time, very recreational, and having a great time with it. So that's the bulk of the presentation that I have. I want to make sure I'm answering some specific questions for you all. So that way, maybe you didn't see something that you're interested in, like hiking or fishing or shooting. And there's other ways and other organizations that do offer some of these things as well. But so that's a brief synopsis of my organization, not mine, our organization at Adaptive Sports Ohio. And hopefully there was something in there that sparked your attention that you might want to be interested and try. And if there's not questions right now, then I'll jump into the actual schedules that we have for our summer programs. So let's pause for a second. If you all want to unmute, if you want to use the chat, what questions do you have for me just about some of our sports, events, opportunities, or anything like that?
Hi, can you please repeat the days the strength and conditioning video calls?
Yes. Yes. And hi, it's good to see you again. It's been a little while since we've gotten a chance to hang out.
I was a little sick, so when I see your email, I was like, okay, let's go. I want to go back.
Awesome. I'm very
And
happy to
for
hear
the
that.
tennis classes that you give in that time.
We'll definitely have tennis back again too.
I hope I'm a little better.
Even if you're
I
not,
was
it's okay.
terrible that day. But I enjoy
Okay.
it a lot. I enjoy it a lot.
I'm glad. And you even tried sled hockey one time too, didn't you?
Oh
Or
yeah,
a couple
hockey
times?
too. Yeah. You're right.
So happy about that. And I'll email this information out too. I'll provide it to USA Northeast Ohio so that they have access to it. But our virtual fitness is Thursdays from 10 to 11 a.m. And we do that on the 2nd and the 4th Thursday of every month. So for example, last week we had one being the second Thursday of the month. Then we're off this week. And then next Thursday, May 25th, then I'll be back doing it one more time. And that goes all year round too.
Do you send the links so I can?
Yes. So once I find out that someone is interested, then I put you on my little list, and then I'll send you every single week that virtual link so you can participate in the event.
Oh, okay. Can you send me the link so I can start to work now?
I would
Thank you.
love
Thank you
to.
so much,
It'll be
Brian.
great to have you back around.
Oh yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Great first question. That's wonderful. Thank you for breaking the ice for us, Denise. Okay, who's second? What's the next question that you all have for me?
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Hey, William, I'm doing great.
My question is with the sled, with the hockey. I've never played hockey before, but this looks very interesting. So I heard you say that we have a team out in Lorain County, or not in Lorain County, but in the city of Lorain. What are the dates that they meet out there?
So we have our Cuyahoga County Cleveland-based team. We're out of Garfield Heights. So we have some athletes from Lorain County, but we don't have any of our practices in Lorain County. So we have some people that travel to us from that area. But so that is going to be from September to March. So we're in the off season of that right now.
Okay.
But we do practice on Saturdays around 12 o'clock for what it's worth.
Okay.
I hate that we're in the off season of that right now when you have that question, because I definitely want to get you involved.
Oh no,
But
it's okay, because there
Yeah.
are other things, that I am interested in. I'll just let you, continue with your presentation, because you said you
Sure.
were going to be going into the actual schedule. So,
yes, sir.
looks like you're going to be answering those questions anyway, man.
I'll get to some of it. And what I'll tell you, William, is that we actually have our sled hockey team is so diverse. It's awesome. We have like a couple very young athletes on our team that are like 8, 10, 12, 16 years old. And then we also have some veterans. We have we have a couple people that are in their 50s and 60s that are playing on our sled hockey team too.
Okay.
We have first timers, that are more recreational style, that are just giving it a try and enjoy it. Larice, for example, like she came out, she tried it. She had a lot of fun, even though she wasn't amazing off of the start, and that's okay. But then we have people that just stick with it and get so much better over time. So even if you haven't ever played hockey before, we get most of our athletes don't have any hockey experience when they first play.
Sure, I don't have any experience doing any sport from a wheelchair. So,
Awesome.
I was talking to Megan. I was telling her I'm just looking forward to having the opportunity to even try out the equipment. So, I'm just, anything I can do, man. I'm just trying to stay as active as I can and get rid of these
Great.
muscle spasms. Jeez.
Yeah. No, I would definitely be happy to have you involved in some of these programs, and hopefully some more activity will help lessen the amount of spasm, right?
Exactly. That's the goal.
And sometimes that is true, and sometimes it's not true, but people at least have fun trying.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. What other questions do we have right now? And like William said, I will be going through our whole summer schedule just so you can see what that looks like. Okay, that's okay. I'll jump to that then. I'm gonna show you this in two different ways. First, I'll show you our Cleveland specific programs for what we have coming up this summer, and then I'll also show you just the program calendar for Adaptive Sports Ohio. And you're gonna look at this and you're gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, are you serious?" And the answer is yes, we are serious, because we're doing all kinds of cool stuff. So first, let's start with our Cleveland specific programs here. And so the first one that I'll show you here is just our football schedule. Okay, so you can kind of see what this looks like to have an idea of what our wheelchair football schedule is. And I'm sorry that my screen is freezing again here. All right, let's go here. Start my video again. So for our Cleveland Browns wheelchair football schedule, for all of our sports, we have these packets that we create, and we email anyone that's interested this packet because it's going to have all the information that you're going to need to participate. It'll have, the name of the event, if it's recreational or competitive. We have, registration information. We have season, location, days and times. So basically, this is all the information that you need for whatever sport it might be. And so this one is for our Cleveland Browns wheelchair football team. And you can see that we're practicing just on Saturdays from 10 to 12 o'clock at Cleveland Heights Community Center. So just Saturdays. And then we're going to have a home scrimmage against Buffalo. Then we're going to go to Chicago for a tournament. And then we're going to have a tournament in Buffalo. So that's what to expect out of our wheelchair football team. The next one is our Power Wheelchair Soccer program. And Power Wheelchair Soccer, again, it's typically for lower functioning individuals, but that doesn't mean people with more function can participate and still have a blast doing it. Basically, if you like Xbox, you're playing any racing games or anything like that, you might really enjoy Power Wheelchair Soccer. So we practice on Tuesday nights over the course of the entire summer, and that's out of Twinsburg Fitness Center. So you can see just Tuesday nights from May all the way to August, and we'll be doing that at Twinsburg Fitness Center. And I'm not expecting you all to memorize this information, but this is just going to help you understand, like, oh, soccer, okay, I might be interested in that, or football, yes. Then the last one that we have for our summer programs in Cleveland, we call this just our multi-sport schedule. And so I really enjoy giving people opportunities to participate in many different things. Variety is very important in my life. And so that's how I program sports too. And so for this multi-sport schedule, what you're going to see is that we're going to do 5 sessions of track and field on Wednesday evenings, between these ones up here. Then on Wednesdays, we'll jump into softball. So we'll be doing some softball on Wednesdays over the month of June. Then in July, we jump to hand cycling on Wednesdays during the day. And we do that at Wallace Lake on the west side in Berea, or Acacia Reservation over in Beechwood. So we have 2 different sites for that. After hand cycling, that's when we do tennis to wrap up our summer. And so again, just gives you an idea of what our summer schedule can be looking like for our Cleveland programs. Now, I know that you're thinking, like, that's a lot of stuff, Brian, and you are correct, that is a lot of stuff. And I might blow your mind just a little bit more once I show you this calendar for our entire organization that we have and how busy this is. And so if I know that someone is interested in an organization, but they don't really know how to get involved, I typically just kind of give them this information here with our calendar, because it has every single program that we have across all of our different locations. So you can see in Cleveland on Tuesdays, you have our Power Wheelchair Soccer, or in Worcester on Wednesdays, they do track and field. Our virtual fitness sessions are on this calendar. Lacrosse is on Thursday nights, and Power Wheelchair Soccer in Worcester. And so all throughout the summer, you can see all these different events that we have for our organization. And as you can see, it is a lot. So not that I want you to memorize any of this info, but I want you to at least be aware of what is going on out there. And I know in Youngstown, they're also starting archery out there. They're looking at rock climbing out there. And then I'm also looking to start pickleball in Cleveland. So that's a little bit more in-depth information about our programs. So I'll pause again here for a second and just open it up for questions or feedback that you all might have.
I have a question, Brian. For hand cycle, do I need to have the equipment or also you provide it?
We will provide the equipment for hand cycling as well. Yeah, so
Oh.
in our organization, we have about 4 different hand cycles, and we have a variety of different kinds as well. So that way you can try. What's also pretty cool for hand cycling is that if you have a friend that wants to ride a bike alongside of you, you can invite them to join us. We're just in the park going for a nice bike ride. And so sometimes family members or friends just want to join and participate as well on their bicycles, and they can do that too.
And just to kind of add into our thing, if you end up going to hand cycling, if you end up loving it, we have the chapter owns 7 hand cycles that we loan out to members for 30 days at a time.
Awesome.
You do have to be able to transport it yourself, but we store them at our storage unit in Parma. We would meet there. You would take a look at the bikes that we have available, sign a liability waiver, and then you have it for 30 days to go wherever you want, how often you want. So just to throw that out there, if you try it with Adapted Sports, end up loving it, we have some that you can borrow.
Great plug. No, that's awesome and especially because our program really is about a month longer. So if you're really interested, maybe you want to go to them and rent out that bike and just bring that one so you kind of have your own bike, your own hand cycle for our sessions instead of using ours, if you're interested in doing that. Awesome. Great plug. Thank you.
Okay, I have a question, Brian.
Great.
So you do work with Adaptive Sports of Ohio, also works with like schools and kids and stuff, is that correct?
Yeah, so we try to do a lot of promotion in the school districts, in the community, so that way we can get those students that have physical disabilities involved. Yes, sir.
Just like out of curiosity, how do you reach out? Do you go do talks and programs as well? Do you let people try and use equipment to borrow, you know what I mean? Say like that girl who wanted to do the track and field, are you providing anything for them to use or try out to start with? You know what I mean? Say, yeah, I want to get into track and field. I'm just at a, I know how you work with adults and programs and people, I've even done the sled hockey with Megan and stuff. I was terrible at it. And I'm able-bodied. I was not good at that at all. But, I'm just curious with like the kids program, because I think that's really interesting. And that's like a big part of, people getting into things later in life, if they're able to try it younger.
Yes. You just said a lot of really cool, good things right there.
Yeah, I know I was lying.
No, that was great. That was so great. So to start off, we try to immerse ourselves in the school districts as much as possible. And so I email every athletic director and superintendent in the state just to make them aware of our programs that we have. And I get very little feedback from that because these people are getting a ton of emails anyways. So that's one thing, is at least if I email them once every single year, maybe after the 5th or 6th time, they'll be like, oh, I actually have a student that this could apply to.
Sure.
But I think the benefit of it is how many people are born with their physical disability compared to that are acquiring it. The ratio is that there's more that where it's congenital, where they're born with it. And we know that the school systems have so many resources that United Spinal Cord Association, that Adaptive Sports Ohio, that we couldn't dream of having, right? These school districts, they have their directors of student services, their intervention specialists, their parapros, their aides, their transportation services, all the above. And we know that if you get someone interested or even aware of this earlier in life, then there's a much higher chance that they'll get involved later in life. And so we're actually the only state in the entire country that is trailblazing sports in school systems in this kind of way. And we know that if right now for track and field, for example, we have 30 students across the state that are involved on their track and field teams. And sure, there's hundreds of schools, in the state of Ohio, but if it's 30 right now, in 10 years, maybe it'll be 50 or 100. And that's going to continue to spread like wildfire. So that way it's going to help the rest of us in the state with our adaptive programs. So we're really excited for that opportunity. And so to answer your question a little bit more specifically, I do a lot of presentations and demonstrations in school systems. For example, last week, this will give you a little idea of what my crazy schedule was last week. Let me look this up real quick to make sure I have it perfectly correct. Okay, so on Tuesday, I went to Medina. They had a Special Olympics state like track and field meet. So there were like 250 students from Medina County. But out of that group of Special Olympics, they actually have students with physical disabilities involved because there's not a lot of other ways that they find a way to be involved. So I was recruiting some students and also meeting all those directors of student services, teachers, track coaches, etc. there. Then on Wednesday, I went to Rocky River schools and I taught physical education. And I brought 15 of our sport wheelchairs and we played their teachers, faculty and staff in a wheelchair basketball game with their entire student body watching. So I got to expose 300 students and a couple that did have a physical disability, one that did use a wheelchair on a daily basis. So that way they're able to see how fun and how cool this can be. Then on Thursday, I went down to Canton for a school in Canton, and I let the students use our equipment. So I taught 4 different PE classes and let those students use all of our equipment. So exactly like you're saying, just trying to expose them, trying to normalize it, trying to let able-bodied people know that this can be cool and fun as well, just to really make this whole adaptive community more normal and more exciting and more, plausible for people that might hesitate otherwise.
That's
So
really,
I know that's a long-winded answer, but yes.
No. Thanks for sharing all that. That's really awesome.
Mm-hmm. And I saw Brian give us a thumbs up too. Thank you, Brian. Us Brian's got to stick together, man. Great question. Anything else I can answer for you all? And if not right now, my contact information is on that slideshow. I'll add it to the chat right here as well. USA Spinal Cord, they have my contact information and all this info for our organization. And so I'm sure that you all will be a resource as well if people do have questions. But don't hesitate to email, call, whatever the case may be. I'll put our very easy, let's see, let me go to the chat here. Our very easy email address in the chat here. And it's going to be info@adaptivesportsohio.org. Just info, that's all. So let me jump into the chat actually here for 1 second. Because Kay was asking if there's any adaptive volleyball. And that's a great question. And we've had conversations about adaptive volleyball and sitting volleyball because it's such a great sport. It doesn't take a lot of equipment. And we've done demos for sitting volleyball before, even though we haven't specifically had our own league for it. The downside is that sitting volleyball is not very prominent around our area as far as like leagues and national governing bodies go, compared to some of these other sports. So that's why we do it sometimes more on a one-time basis, or we'll try it here or try it there for some of these other sports. So that's a great question. Anything else in the chat? I think that was the biggest thing that I had in the chat, but that was a great question, Kate. Thank you for asking that. Okay, I think I'll turn it back to you all to see if there's anything else that you want me to add or if you all want to wrap this thing up.
Any last questions for Brian?
Okay.
Bueller.
I'll stop being weird. That's okay.
If anybody thinks of any questions at a later date, I will include his email and Adapted Sports email in the replay email that I'll send out Wednesday or Thursday. as well as all of the other information. Brian, thank you so much for coming tonight, or showing up
pleasure.
tonight, to present to us and tell us all about it. We appreciate your time and, keeping in touch with us.
Yeah, absolutely. You are all a great partner. You're a great organization, and we're just happy to be a part of it. And hopefully we can give your community some more opportunities, even though it sounds like you are already offering some really awesome stuff just within your organization too.
Yeah, thank you. All right, I will go ahead and stop recording.